All right, people, we are live. What's going on? So tonight I'm going to talk about the number one question I get all the time is, how do you handle this objection? What would you say if they said this? And it kind of drives me nuts. It kind of drives me bonkers, to be honest with you, because they think it's just that one section in the call that is the be all end all. Like, everything was great up until that. They just couldn't handle that objection. And I always say it's not a great question. How do you handle that objection? I mean, obviously you got to handle objections. I don't care how good you are, you're going to get objections. It is the way it is, right? But it's smarter to ask a better question, like why are you getting that objection, right? And then what caused that objection to come up for them? I like to handle the objections. The best time to handle an objection is even before they come up, right? So I'm not a big fan of scripts and working everything out. Everyone has I got the perfect script now, and it's this, and it's nonsense. It can help though. It can help, but to plan out, if you know all the objections you're going to get, and you can work it out in the call ahead of time, and be preemptive about it and bring it up. That's the way to do it. But I don't like spending time handling objections. In fact, that's the last thing I teach. It's the last thing, because if you do everything else right in the call, you're not going to get many. And like I did on a post, actually no, I did it on a comment. I kind of went through this other feed the other night. Someone was posting about how do you handle the I want to think about it objection. And I don't even think that's an objection. That's a stall. It's not an objection. It's not real. It's not that they don't really need to think about it. If everything was right, they'd say yes, right? So it's just a nice no. And the problem with you see, and the cool thing with objections, you can see other people's baggage and stuff that they bring up, right? So when people are responding, well, some people do need to think about it. You know, when I did my program, when I signed up for my high ticket program, I had to talk to my husband, I had to think about it, and that's what they're getting is that it's their BS, right? If you have a belief in your head that it's a simple decision, it's binary, it's a yes or a no, and you know how to frame the call, and you know how to have frame control through the whole call, it's not a big deal. It's either a yes or a no. It's binary. But when you're like, well, I had to talk, and then other people, you have two sides of the equation. There's people saying, well, you don't want to push people, and I get that. The last thing you want to do is try to start handling trying to convince people and overcome objections. I think it doesn't work, and I'm like, but letting them go and like, oh, let's schedule a call, we can talk after you think about it. How many times does that work? Maybe you get a few people come back, maybe 5% if you're really lucky, maybe it's 2-3%, 5%, 10%. It's the exception, not the rule. And you don't want to build your business on exceptions, right? People play, whatever, the World Series of poker. I don't know, I don't even play cards, but I know that the top guys and girls are always in the top 10, and it's not luck. They know what they're doing, right? So it's skill. So there's averages, right? So you can play a hand, and you can play the right hand and lose, right? You could that this wins 85% of the time, and you played it and you lost the hand. That's okay. You know that if you keep doing the right plays, you're going to win 85% of the time. You're going to be a winner. You can't take the exception as the rule. That's what people do. Well, one person came back 6 months later, but what about the 100 people that didn't? So letting them off the hook and folding like a lawn chair doesn't work, right? So the thing with objections is it's great because it shows you what's wrong in your game, right? And the funniest thing is people that get the I want to think about an objection, they're really indecisive. They don't make decisions good. There's an old joke that, oh God, who told me this? Someone told me this. If I'm going to decide I'm going to do business with someone, I'm going to take them to like a Chinese food restaurant. And I was like, why? It's because there's 500 items on the menu, and I want to see how they make decisions. If they can't even order a $5, $7, or $10 plate of food, how are they going to act when the big decision is on the line? Right? And then I've heard other things too, like you see if you're going to do business with someone, how they treat the staff. And if they're rude to the waiters, and you shouldn't work with those people because they're just nightmares. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's the fact of how are they going to act, and I think that's key. You got to make sure with your sales calls, it's you can't bring your own stuff to the table. But if you're getting something consistently, you need to look at yourself, because this notion that we attract what we want the secret is complete bullshit. We don't attract what we want. We attract what we are, right? If we're indecisive, we're going to attract indecisive people. So if you notice people on your calls are not being decisive, look at how are you deciding things. Think about when, your spouse says, where do you want to go eat? I don't know. Where do you want to go? Like, you can't even make a damn decision, right? So stop making decisions. You laugh, but it can be that simple sometimes. People just make crappy decisions. They don't even make decisions, right? So here's the case. It is a mindset too, right? There is no way in the world when I'm on a phone call that there is any answer besides a yes or a no. And I'm okay with either one of them. You can say no, fuck off, and I'm okay. Like, cool. At least you made up your mind. But this, I need to talk to this person. I need to do this. I need to do that. You got to frame the call at the beginning. You got to make sure, and then other people talk about B to C and B to B. Like business to business is different. I mean, the buying cycle is different. But think about it. It's not something they'll tell you. They'll tell you that I gotta talk with procurement. I can't even talk tonight, jeepers. Or I gotta do this and that. And then you gotta know who the decision makers are to be on the phone, right? If you're constantly getting, if you have a offer where maybe it's something with couples, and maybe you help women or you help men in these relationships, and they rely on the other people, then they need to be on the call. Right? You have to have some kind of process to figure out, either in your application process, on the call, because it's not fair. If you're asking someone, think about it. If you're going to make a big investment in your business, and your spouse needs to be there, right, to make that decision, it's not fair to do a call and then just talk to them after. It's like if someone's brain surgeon, right, and I'm talking to them about brain surgery, all the things that why I should do, why I shouldn't, and then I go talk to my wife after about it, and how am I going to be able to articulate what the brain surgeon said to me? No, of course not. So it's not fair. So you're doing them a disservice. So they either need to be on the phone or something. But anyway, you need to have a system in place to keep the frame. Because handling objections, I'm doing a post on this after. You'll see it later tonight or tomorrow. And handling objections is just like being in a boat with holes in it, and you're just trying to take a bucket and scoop the water out. And it's the same thing with just handling objections. If you're just working on overcoming objections, then all these bullshit ones come up, all these crazy ones. Oh, how about this? Oh, it'd be perfect if I could get it in red. Okay, I'll do it in red. Oh, I want a blue widget now. It's just like, it's ridiculous. It's the throw me a bone thing, and people are just chasing objections. So don't focus so much on objections, okay? The moral of the story here is focus on why are you getting that objection, and how often are you getting the objection? Right? If it happens once out of 100 calls, like dude, like seriously, like don't waste your time on it. If it's some like, how do you handle this aggravated asshole that says this? You don't. You just don't even deal with it. Like, do you want to work with someone like that? No. Then who cares? Just tell them they're not a good fit and tell them beat it. Tell them that this could be why you're struggling. You're an asshole, right? So whatever. Anyways, that's it, guys. Don't chase objections. Don't find out why you're getting them. Find out what's going on in your calls. That's the biggest secret. All right. So I want to do a rant today. I got to get off my chest, and I feel better now. Thank you for letting me share that with you. Later, freaks.